Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Non-Native Leader, my video podcast series where I chat to people who were not born in an English-speaking country and they are now enjoying an international career, being it in IT, fintech, NGOs, music, art. I love talking to people and I love talking to people from different backgrounds. Today I have with me Dariusz Sadowski. Is an engineer, a leader, a manager, is a lot of things, and I'm sure he's going to share with us some interesting details of his career, maybe his private life, I don't know, but it's up to him, I'm not going to force him. Dariusz, very welcome here with me. I'm really glad to have you here. So tell us, where are you? First of all, that's the first question. Where are you at the moment?
Hey, Daria, thank you so much for having me here. I'm in London for last 10 years, originally coming from Poland, and spending tiny bit of time, half a year in Netherlands before that.
Okay.
As a contractor.
Nice. So from Poland right into the heart of the native speaker land. The capital. Okay. And I bet, Netherlands, so I bet this has been quite an adventure for you. You're a career switcher, be like me, be like a lot of people actually I speak to. I seem to attract, career switchers somehow, but that's the interesting thing. That's one thing I really love or what I'm doing. And so, what's your job today? What are you doing?
Today I'm head of engineering for across Europe fintech.
Nice.
And on the side, I'm coaching, helping people with career switching.
There you go.
All things. And I've been in engineering for 20 years. 10 of that is full time. So I did many things in my life, and learning languages is one thing.
Yeah, that does help, doesn't it?
Yes.
That's great. So let's backtrack a little. So today, okay, leader, you're helping people, you're coaching people, but also you also say you have a very long experience in software engineering. And so the obvious question is, why did you make the switch?
Which switch we want to talk about?
Okay, well, the last one. So the one from engineering to leading to coaching people, I'd say that's something that I'm curious about,
Yeah, that was effect of me getting onto the communication skill hype train. Because I've been the angry engineer you may hear about who always talks about technology.
Okay, yeah, I've seen it in memes and stereotypes,
Yeah, I was the stereotypical engineer who is good at code, but not as great at communication. But then around 3 years ago, I got the aha moment. I was just standing in the office speaking with one of our clients about my boss at the time. And they were saying that, oh, he's so great at code and delivering software. And at the same time, he's amazing communicator. And for me, it was the light bulb moment.
Oh, sure.
Because for my whole life, I thought that it's a trade-off. That I can either be good at code or I can be good at communication. And then when this belief, I've realized that this belief is not true, and I have an example of someone who is good at both.
Yeah.
Then I had no more excuse to be bad at communication skills and started learning books, podcasts, YouTube. And within a couple of months, I've become engineering manager and quite recently become head of engineering.
Great. Okay. So it was like both to challenge yourself, but also to tap into your existing knowledge. And then the eureka moment made you realize that, wait a minute, I can do both. And and you're doing it today, which is not bad, I'd say.
Yeah,
Wow.
basically the communication skills held me back. After 20 years of engineering, I knew thing or two.
Yeah,
My
I'd say
problem
so.
was I couldn't deliver what I know. Because it doesn't
Mm,
matter what I know if I cannot present it,
yeah,
people won't believe it.
absolutely. Yeah.
Other solutions will be taken.
Yeah. I love
So
this. I love this very practical approach, Darius, because these days, we hear a lot about soft skills, but sometimes it feels like something up in the air. But then you are bringing it back to, to concrete matter. So, like, yeah, I have experience, I have ideas. How do I communicate them? And that's the missing link. So, yeah, soft. What's soft about them? I still don't know, but
I
this I'm very hard to me.
yeah, soft for me, soft is how you can measure it
Hmm.
and what is the feedback loop. With code, with engineering, the feedback loop is very hard. It either works or not. With
Yep.
soft skills, the feedback loop is dependent on who you speak with, what medium you use. Do you write? Do you speak? Are you on the podcast? It will always differ. So it's way harder to get feedback because what you say, how we are speaking now here, works for the podcast. Maybe it won't work during heated discussion in the boardroom.
You
And
know.
the awareness of context is, I think, what makes communication hard. For
Hmm.
myself, having some background in psychology helps a lot. And reading not only about communication, but also negotiation and sales, out of all things, because those are very practical communication contexts. And they
Hmm.
hold a lot of knowledge of how to solve specific communication problems, especially during the career.
Yeah.
Because the career is not like having a beer with friends in the pub. Those are serious
Yeah.
conversations.
Yeah. Although it does
Salary.
help, have a drink or two, they do help. But yeah, no, I know what you mean, of course.
Yeah, there is way more freedom when you speak with friends,
Yeah.
and your friends will accept that sometimes I was talking with friends and ranting and complaining about things, but it was okay for the group of friends.
Yep.
For speaking with execs, other colleagues, or clients, the frame of reference is different.
Yeah.
I cannot
Absolutely.
tell my client that they are wrong because they are paying me for the results or my company for the results.
Hmm. Yeah,
I
that's an
need to
interesting
go
point. Yeah.
I need to go around, convince them. Not as easy. Oh, you are wrong, and you need to do this different way. And everything you do, you need to sell.
Wow. Okay. A lot of things here. Actually, you reminded me once in a job interview, they asked me, is it right that the customer is always right? That was a hard question, but I think your approach might be a good way to answer it, Like, yeah, no, the customer is not wrong, but it's about telling a story, it's about selling your point of view, and it's about influencing people, I'd say. So it's not about telling them you're right or wrong. It's, this art of diplomacy in a way. Um,
Yeah. And when you think about it, if customer is angry with the service, they are angry with the service. You cannot tell them that they are not because they are in the state of mind and the feeling of something not working. And
yeah.
I like to take it beyond the phase of good or bad. It just is. And them accepting their feelings and accepting that they are unhappy at the moment
Mm,
is the key break point to get them out of that state and find solution for their problem, especially if you work in the B2B sales. Because if you're B2C product to multiple customers, of course, there will be someone angry and someone want to change.
Yeah.
But if there is 10 quid subscription service and you have 1 million customers, it's just a matter of statistic that those kind of people will be there.
Oh, yeah.
If you are working on 6, 7 figure contracts, you don't have space for at this level of money, pressure, and delivery for having really angry clients. And it's very small circle of companies, businesses who will work in this space. And even one small blip on the radar can cause huge reputational damage.
Yeah. Yeah. It makes a huge difference. Yeah. That the kind of business you're into. Some of the skills would probably be the same. They have to use the arts of diplomacy, these sort of things. But again, the processes would be different. And I'd say your approach would be different as well. Um, okay, so we're talking about, experience. We're talking about diplomacy, soft skills. These are all things that you refine with time. But going back like a good few years ago, right? Poland, the Netherlands, England. So, what has been the main challenge for you in your international experience?
The main challenge, I think, would be the culture change.
Hmm.
There was one challenge where in Netherlands it took me 3 weeks to start speaking English.
Okay.
Because I knew I could understand, I could read, but I had block from speaking out loud. And it took 3 weeks and just jumping over the bridge.
Yeah.
But thinking about challenges, the biggest one was the culture shift.
Hmm.
Because moving to different countries, not only the language changes, also communication patterns.
True.
What I mean is in Poland and in most of Eastern Europe, we are pretty straight to the point. Uh, in here, it's called rude. Sometimes we are
Oops.
just, for us, it's just fun. It's just how Poland are. It's efficient, and yeah, it took me quite a while to soften my approach. Let's put it this way, and learn, like you said, Daniel, is like the diplomacy
Hmm.
and more softer approach British have to conversations.
Yeah, you can't be too direct, can you? It's that's a bit of a challenge, I'd say. Yeah, and especially when you want to get things done, you think like, come on, I want to get to the point. But you have to talk to people. You can't just go
Yeah,
and say, look, I want to do this, that's it. You have to, somehow involve people. And I'd say that,
especially in,
yeah, that
yeah,
must have been like a real challenge. Yeah, that's
yeah. And being coder, as we spoke about hard skills, I solved hard skills problem. So the solution was obvious, quote unquote, as I thought at the start. So it in my mind at the time, when I sat in the office and explained something to my colleague, that was pretty straightforward. We need to do this. I didn't appreciate that how much the delivery matters, focusing
Hmm,
so much on the code. So I made the soft skill hard skill.
straight away.
Yeah, and I had to soften it over time and to really explain that it's not really about code, it's about the perception of the other person, what I'm
Yeah.
telling.
And was this a problem for you at the beginning, right? To let's say to fine tune this sort of approach. So, like, did it cause you problems?
Uh, it did.
Hmm.
My managers were always, let's say, they weren't entirely unhappy, but they knew that I'm quite ranty and I'm just straight to the point. And a couple of them gave me feedback.
Okay.
How that, yeah, you're straight to the point. And for me, it was matter of observation and slowly learning and switching one, I would call it trigger at the time.
Hmm.
So in this situation, now I'm going straight to the point. And okay, next time, let's try soften approach.
Okay.
And one after another, situation after situation, it got better and better and better.
Great. I love this logical approach. It's like you have a switchboard. Okay, one at a time, switch them off. It's very practical and logical, you know?
I like my systems. And what I do is like I believe that there is system we follow for everything in our minds. It's linked to emotions, is not purely logical. It's also emotions because there is emotion.
Yeah,
I feel something, and maybe I feel attacked. And there is system which is fight or flight.
right.
And
So,
that's where the anger happens. That's where people become combative.
mm,
And knowing that the system exists is the first step to soften the communication. To realize, oh, I feel attacked by that in like split second when you hear something. Oh, I feel attacked. In my old and normally I would do this. But this is opening the awareness of the decision point that, oh, I feel attacked. But now I will choose to be polite in spite of feeling. It's not about
mm,
changing your feelings. It's about different reaction to those feelings.
yeah. You can change how people behave. You can change up to a level how you feel, but then you can definitely change how you react to those emotions, you know?
Yeah,
Actually,
great.
yeah,
Yeah, just one point. It's like because I
yeah.
heard a great distinction recently is react versus response.
Uh-huh.
To normally people react. Even right now, most of our conversation is reaction based. And to master the communication skills, it's art of responding.
Mhm.
Active listening, making decision how to respond, and then respond.
Yeah.
So I hope it's helped some of the viewers to realize in normal conversation with your wife, with your colleagues at work, are you reacting or are you
Hmm.
responding?
Yeah. I'd say that's a fundamental difference because in a way, we talked about soft skills and active listening. They seem to be becoming buzzwords, but there is a lot, uh, to talk about when we mention these things. And yeah, active listening, reacting, responding, it's part of what we do every day, really. And there is a close connection to emotion. So yeah, whatever job we do, ultimately, it's about communicating, unless you're on your own. But, I can't think of an example of someone working on their own 24/7. It's hard to imagine that. I don't know.
There is a couple of engineers I saw who dream of the goat farm being alone in the middle of nowhere. And then they need to figure out how to communicate with their goats
Okay.
still,
There is
right?
some level of communication there
To
too.
hear the goat, so they need to learn the goat language.
Okay.
But otherwise, communication is everywhere.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
How we dress, how we speak, when we go to the shop, when we pay for groceries at the local supermarket. Everything is communication.
True.
Even not turning on camera when working from home and being silent. It is communication still. You may turn off the camera, but it is communication because you communicate to others that you're probably doing something else. You're not interested in the meeting. You don't want to be seen. there is still a lot of
Oh
information.
yeah.
And what I say, people turn on the camera so people can see you. So you communicate that you want to be seen.
Yeah.
Even if you're muted and even if you're looking at the other screen, it shows some level of engagement. And it's not to say that someone with camera turned off is disengaged, but
Just we don't know. Yeah.
the communication is the eye of beholder. It's like, I may know you and I know that you just work and listen, but if there are other people in the meeting, I cannot vouch for them. And those small details really matter in communication.
Yeah. And especially because we are not in the same physical room. Okay. Maybe I need to change approach. Maybe I need to, change my pace, intonation, whatever, but I get this instant feedback. Whereas, yeah,
Yeah.
when we are here, and I'm happy that we are both on camera here. So
Yeah, it's
imagine
like,
if I switch that off.
yeah, like let's run podcasts without cameras. That wouldn't be enjoyable.
No, absolutely not. Okay, Darius, we've talked about anger, fight or flight, so a whole series of emotions. And I guess, like at the beginning, you were feeling a lot of them because, you're in a new environment, you're trying to communicate, and you get this feedback. So, like, what was the turning point for you, really?
The turning point was there were a couple of them. One I've mentioned earlier, the blocking belief that I cannot be technical and communicative at the same time.
Mm.
That was one of the pivotal points around communication. And for me, it was most of the things that made the biggest difference were around blocking beliefs. So I thought something about myself which wasn't true.
Mm.
Because one thing I can say that I thought that I was depressed for long, long time. Just like with the technical versus communication, with
Sure,
depression, if I think I'm depressed, I will behave certain way.
of
I'm not
course.
allowed to be happy uh, when I'm depressed. And true for everybody listening, I'm not saying that you can just do this. I spent nearly half a year with my therapist before getting to this point. But I've realized that I'm very attached to being depressed. The moment I've realized it, that I'm not, communication became quite easy. And from the knowledge perspective, is learning, negotiation, sales, the classics. Chris Voss, Never Split the Difference, and Zig Ziglar's How to Close the Sale. I think it was the name.
Okay.
And then outside, like my 3 books rule in learning. Uh, Third one would be Influence by Cialdini. There are like
Right.
3 books that really got me thinking into the, like as you said, the logical side
Yeah.
of communication. Because I spent 20 years writing messages to computers. I understand the logical world in very logical way.
Mm-hmm.
So I've created communication patterns which I can follow and what we are speaking about now.
Yeah. So, but then first, before you could get into studying, you had to get over that limiting belief. And in your case was that feeling like you had created the sort of character, the sort of persona. And okay, let's say I'm depressed, so I'm not entitled to be happy. I can't talk to people openly because, I'm closed, depressed, I'm closed. And it's like self-sabotage in a way because you keep thinking, okay, I have to be that, but it's also, I think, something that it slightly becomes comfortable. So you're there, say, okay, this is me. Uh, why should I change? No, no, no. This is me. Okay, I want to be here, and that's a powerful switch. I think once you realize you can be something different, you can be someone different, then things really do change.
Yeah,
Uh,
one thing that helped me is
wow.
working on the labels. Because what you said, being an introvert, being depressed, being engineer, I'm a someone.
Hmm.
This brings a lot of assumptions behind it. I'm a head of engineering. This brings something. I'm a podcast host. It brings the social expectations, it brings the frame how to behave.
Hmm.
And it's not all the labels are useful. It's way easier to just be yourself. And with communication skills, everybody has communication skills.
Yep.
You everybody can communicate. Some people can communicate one way or another, and some ways work better than others. So it's about how do you communicate and choose different path if you wish to,
Yeah.
rather than going into like, oh, path. And that's why I'm talking about labels, because if I say I'm an introvert,
Hmm.
then I don't speak to in the room. I won't network. I will stand on the side and do
Yeah.
nothing. But then there is stigma of I don't want to be extrovert because extroverts are annoying and always talk and never
Yeah.
sit quiet. But
Yeah.
why choose between extremes?
Exactly.
And why not I'm I'm just quiet communicator. I like to listen to people and maybe come to the group and listen to them
Yeah.
and learn from them how they communicate and then go to the next group and try to say a few words.
Yeah. It's about finding your voice eventually, like you don't have to be someone you don't want to be. But as you rightly say, you have something to tell people. So why keeping it for yourself, where you can share. Uh, and so yeah, it's about finding the confidence, again, finding your voice. This is me, this is what I want, this is what I want to share. So let's learn how to share it. And yeah, and I think that's again a powerful mindset switch. Sure, you can learn these things, but first there has to be something in your mind saying, okay, uh, step out of the comfort zone, talking about
Yeah.
stereotypes and buzzwords, but that's the idea, getting out of the known, out of whatever is familiar, and then, putting yourself out there and start
One
coming.
exercise I love is I can. It's very simple.
Okay.
If you want to do something and you're afraid your confidence is low, someone may be quite shy and trying to communicate with the group, run with yourself in your mind sentences starting with I can.
Mm.
Before big meeting, I'm doing it like if I have a stressful meeting, it's like I will tell myself a couple of times, I can shine in this meeting. In this, the icon is crucial here because it tricks our mind to think that we are confident, that we can do it. And this builds the optimism and the neural pathways for to like strategize what we do in the meeting.
Uh-huh.
It's beautiful, simple exercises like I can do this right before do it, and you will see the difference in your mindset
Yeah.
of approaching the task.
Gonna try it next time, definitely.
Yeah.
Sounds like a powerful one. Darius, we are towards the end of our chat, unfortunately. So we spoke about a lot of things, which, including this little exercise, which I'm going to try. And so talking about changing yourself, now you are also helping others change because that's part of your career now, your coaching. So in that perspective, is there any recommendation you would give to people who want to, go through the same path or to a similar path or to have like an international experience like yours?
Learn English is the starting point. Before, in current market, research the country you want to go through. Because English is international language, it's language of the internet. You can communicate everywhere in English. Research the country because the markets are not as great as they were. Make sure you find some connections. Is LinkedIn, other platforms, I think LinkedIn is the best. And just go. Just make sure that you have place to land in the new country. And the best thing is try before you buy. Just go there for a week, for two on holidays, and find some local groups rather than tourist groups and meet local people, because at the end of the day, you won't be tourist. After 10 years, it's hard to be tourist
Yeah.
in London. So you will run with locals. So talk to locals, and they really know the good stuff about the place you want to go.
Lovely. Dariusz, thank you very much indeed for all the precious information, the insights, the advice, the exercise, the tips. So I think there's a lot we've covered here. So thank you very much. It's been a pleasure having you here.
Thank you so much, Daniela. Thank you for having me as well.
Okay. And everybody, thank you for sticking around, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.